Hi, everybody. Welcome to the new episode of your Frederish podcast. My name is Gary, and today we're going to talk about time travel. Yeah, fiction, science, interesting facts, everything. So sit down, relax, go grab your soda, popcorn, coffee, whatever it takes to relax, and come with us. Let's just jump into it without any further ado because, as you know, time is money and time flies. I'm just bringing up these common sense phrases to emphasize my introduction. So let's definitely go for it. Okay, so I'm not sure how much interesting this topic is for you guys, but I can pretty much tell that it not only that doesn't simply please me. It totally entices me, fascinates me, and it was always like that. As far as I can remember, it is a topic I always love talking about, listening to stories of it, watching movies with this theme. I can pretty much say I love it. I really am fascinated about the topic time travel, all right? So, that being said, I think that it's even fair enough to start off with the fiction, the fictional aspect of it. That is, of course, first of all, movies and shows, all right? But before we get there, let me just say time travel is a concept that has in itself lots and lots of problems, okay? It's been said. I'm gonna talk more about it at the end of this episode, but just to have a quick introduction and quick context, it is something that has been discussed and still is discussed by scientists, by theoreticals, everyone in the in this curious in some kind of curious area, curiosity area, in terms of science or writers or movie producers or just simple curious people like myself, for example. But it's been there. Okay, so there are basically two types of time traveling, at least the main ones: to the future or to the past. Okay, there's the interdimensional travel, concept, which I will leave for another opportunity because that goes, as far as I can understand, that goes, beyond the idea of this episode. Okay, so going to the future is something we all do. I am doing this at this very moment, and please don't hate me. So are you. Okay, we're all traveling to the future. 1 second per second. That is, like, every time time passes, we're moving towards the future. Okay, no matter what it is for anyone, but going to the future is a kind of a natural. It is totally natural, a natural process. So the whole idea is how to speed it up. How to get from today, September 2023 to September 2053 in a couple of minutes, seconds, or even hours, or even days, okay, for that matter. Okay, science has been discussing this kind of trajectory, basically, as ever since Albert Einstein came up with the relativity theory and concept and everything. That says, basically, if you're not familiar with the term, with this idea, is that, like, if someone gets to travel at the speed of light or close to it or significantly close to it, time will pass faster for everyone else that is not moving at this speed. Okay, this is what the relativity theory says, at least to the best of my knowledge. If there's any physicist and anyone who knows more about it and it's possible to jot a comment or contribution, please feel free. All right, but basically, going to the future, it is possible, okay, at least theoretically, but going back to the past, it's not. Okay, first of all, the paradoxes that it could generate, the changes in history, historical facts, not only historical facts in general, but also your private ones. Say, for example, you time travel and stop precludes your parents from meeting, for example, whenever they met. So that means you're never born, at least not the way you are, right? Not exactly the way you are. And if you weren't even born, who are you? Who has changed the past? Okay, just this quick and objective example. All right. So this is my introduction of the topic, or at least how I see it. And again, I hope you really enjoy it. So let's just talk about the movies, okay? Oh, let me ask you this question, or I don't know, you cannot answer that probably, but I would like you to answer to yourself, talk to friends, preferably in English, of course. If you can find your English studying colleague or colleagues or someone who can speak English and you can talk about it, I would like you to ask and answer, ask to your friend and answer to him or her the following question. Where would you go? Future or past? If you could time travel, let me just help you out here. 100% safely without, exposing yourself to risks. Just you could observe. Where would you go? Future or past? Okay. Answer yourself this question is in English. If you can write something in English, much better. Okay. But even only speaking out loud alone can help. You can record yourself, by the way, which is really cool, and helps you evaluating your own English. All right. Anyways, so let's just jump to part number one, that is movies. Okay. Before I get there, let me just say that, well, there's so many options out there. I mean, when I say movies, I'm also considering shows, and not only movies. All right. So needless to say that the number of options out there is, gasting. Like there's so many good things out there that it really breaks my heart to just have separated half a dozen here. So anyways, let's just go there. So one of my purposes here is to talk about, my main purpose here is to talk about these works, movies, books, without much spoiling them, okay? Without spoiling at some level, it's kind of, impossible. But I will just kind of talk about the works. There are some of them written and done in English, some of them written and done in other languages, all right? So this is not that I am indicating, productions for you to practice English, okay? That's not the point here. Let me just make it 100% clear, all right? Okay, so the first one, it's straight away not English, but it's interesting if you can watch it, and you'll certainly have a good time. And if you're just like myself, totally in love, passionate about the topic, the time traveling topic, I am pretty sure you will love it too. Okay, there is a German production called Dark. I really believe you have already heard this title. Okay, it's been quite popular, quite successful in on the Netflix catalog of shows, and I can pretty much tell this is far, one of my favorite fictional stories. I'm gonna put it this way here. Okay, it's one of my favorite fictional stories. Okay, of all time. It is so because, well, I don't know if it's a German. I want to say that Germans are objective when they're producing things, stories. But truth of the matter is, I haven't seen many German movies. Okay, I intend to, but I haven't. Okay, if I say I have, I'm lying. And the same goes for books. Okay, but it's very clear for me every time I watch some European production that they're still not, for lack of a better word, contaminated with let's produce as many seasons as possible, as long as we have the hype. This commercial in the negative sense, in my opinion, aspect of the shows. That is like making, 10 seasons when 3 seasons could, or 4 could cut it, could perfectly cut it. All right. Good. When I say cut it, I mean just explaining the expression, could do the job. Okay. So this, I don't like that. Okay. Just to put it this way. But dark. One of one of the first things you will realize as soon as in case you don't know the show, is that it just has 3 seasons. Okay, there's only 3 seasons out there. Okay, more or less 31 episodes in total, which is a lot compared to a movie, but reasonably short compared to other shows out there, especially Americans. Okay, I'm not bad mouthing American shows or anything, but unfortunately we have this thing because of money, right? Because of production, right? Because of the commercial, all the thing, and all of it. I don't like it. I understand, but I don't like it. It's probably very, very clear by this point. So Dark is a show that is just covers, that takes place in a small city in Germany. And it starts the year 2019. And to summarize the whole thing without spoiling, there are time traveling, happening from 2019, from 33 years. Okay, the first episode starts in 2019, and then the years go by. Okay, so every 33 years before. So in this, taking the first episode, the first part as reference, 2019, 1986, and 1953. Okay, so the whole time traveling thing happens only in these 3, portals, if I can put it this way, right? 3 points in the timeline, and it's all based in a cause effect thing, meaning past cannot be altered. If you try to alter the past, it means, and you manage to do that, it means that this change of you've just done, that you think is a new thing. It's like you changing the whole universe, or you cheating the whole universe rule of cause effect. It's already done. You've done that before. That happened before, and I don't want to say much because I will spoil one of the coolest points of the show, but it's in the very first season. In the very first episodes, it gets really clear when someone in the show accidentally not accidentally, but time travel back to 1986, and then realizes that his family is involved, his own life is there, thanks to that trip, that accident trip that happened at the very beginning of the show. So this is really, really mind blowing. Okay. I don't want to say much because I don't want to spoil, as I say that, and I want to talk more about other words, okay? But the whole show has this thing like, hey, what's gonna happen? Because no matter what they do, they already destined to do that, and they think, even if they think they don't, and then you keep asking yourself like, until what point will the show preserve this rule? Okay, and this causes a really, really interesting sense of like, I want to see what's gonna happen, like curiosity. Not to mention the whole plot. It's all connected. It's all well, I could pretty much visualize the authors with this big blackboard, writing events and drawing a timeline, in order to make sure that no contradictions would exist. But it's impossible, okay, guys, not to have any kind of contradiction when it comes to time traveling to the past. But apart from the inevitable contradictions, possible contradictions, depending on the way you interpret the situation, the whole plot, the whole thing, the whole universe, But anyways, it's very interesting and it's totally worth it. Okay, it's in German. If you study German, if you want to learn if you want to go to Germany or want to learn German, it's pretty much one of the first things I would recommend. But only for purposes of entertainment, it is just cool. Okay, I haven't seen it in English. I don't know how the dubbing work is. But if you want to practice English and watch it, I don't even know if there's the dub for English dub version. 99%, yeah, but go check it out. All right, it's definitely one of my recommendations here. Okay, there's a very cool movie that everyone knows. It just literally doesn't need any introduction. That is Back to the Future. Okay, it's a trilogy. Okay, well, if you never saw that, well, I don't even know where to start. Okay, because I feel like, well, no matter what I say here, there won't be any spoilers because God knows everyone has seen that, and I hope everyone at least likes it. You know, I'm not gonna say that everyone should love it, but at least likes it. But I am, needless to say, definitely passionate about the movies, the three of them. Not to mention that there's the whole affective memory present there because I grew up watching to these movies, this trilogy. And it's amazing, you know, it's funny, it's a Disney production for those of you who don't know. So it's as nostalgic and as well produced and funny and fun as, you know, as it can go, basically. Okay, so I not only recommend people watching it, but rewatching it, which I often do, by the way, kind of a tradition every 4 years, I don't know, 3 years. I like rewatching the whole trilogy, and I am totally showing it to my kids. This is one of the things my kids will watch. Okay, I at least that's on my to-do list. All right. There's a Spanish show which was canceled, as far as I know, because I didn't get to the end of it. Because I must say in advance, I didn't like the way things started happening. You know, there's a point where, in my opinion, okay, go for it and take your own conclusions. They kind of lost their hands, basically, as we say, lost the grip on the show. And again, because when it talk about time traveling, there is so many changing aspects. I mean, paradoxes, you know, all these things, and it's almost impossible not to get lost at some point if you don't make it in controlled and dry in terms of shortened, objective, you know, way. So in my opinion, they lost it. But the first, I don't remember where I stopped, but I believe I saw like 4 seasons, each one of them containing more or less 15 to 20 episodes. But it's very cool because it gets really clear when you watch the show that the people who produce that are history lovers. Okay, they really like history, and of course it's a Spanish. It's not only a show in Spanish, but it's a Spanish production. So there's the whole thing of the navigations, you know, the history, the Spanish wars, the Spanish dynasties, the monarchs out there, all the whole thing. Not to mention the artists, right? The painters, you know. And they kind of interact with all these people. Some of them are even agents. Okay, I don't want to spoil, but it's a great show. It's a fun show. It's not like something to take really serious in terms of science. Okay, but it's really, really nice, really, really fun. I really recommend. Okay, there's a movie I saw that on Netflix about 4 years ago called Time Trap. Okay, in Brazil it's named A Caverna. In the original title is Time Trap. That is an American production, which is also very, very cool. I really, really recommend. It's about time traveling to the future. That is getting to a place where the time flows faster, and it's really, really nice. Okay, has got a very cool atmosphere, and I enjoy that. Deja Vu with Sir Denzel Washington. I don't even know if he's a sir, but I really love him as an actor, and I couldn't help but say that way. Very nice. Okay, explores the concept of observing the past, but not being able to do anything about it. Okay, just observing and using it as a reference. Okay, not gonna say much because this would easily spoil. I mean, it won't spoil because at the very beginning they say that. Okay, basically he's a cop, a kind of a cop, detective or something like that, and then he comes to resolve a crime. Okay, a terrorist attack that happens on a boat, but not like offshore. You know, in a river in the city, in a city. I don't remember which city. New York probably. And then he comes up with, he finds out that the police has got a device that manages to watch things that happened in the past. Okay, and then he starts wondering, asking himself and asking everyone around him, like, why couldn't we do something about it? If we're looking at a crime that is about to happen, why don't we do something about it? You know, and there's the whole thing. I'm not gonna say much, not to spoil, and because of course of, ironically enough, the time. All right, okay, it's Deja Vu with Denzel Washington. Hell of a movie. All right. Another show that's it's a shame that they didn't make more, in my opinion, at least. Probably not the opinion of the rest of the people, but a show called Terra Nova. I saw that on Netflix about 8 years ago. Very nice. They time travel to the past on a one-way trip, meaning that they can go, you know, in return. They can only go to the past, and they return to millions of years in the past, since in the show Earth, the present, is destroyed. You know, the whole global warming thing, you know, whole nature destruction thing has, you know, made Earth a very inhospitable place, very hard to live on. And then they travel like millions of years to the past, to the dinosaurs age, and this whole shocking of things is really nice. The story is not that thing, you know, the plot, but it's cool. The atmosphere, you know, the idea. Unfortunately, they just cancel it when it was, you know, when season 1 came to the end. Okay, but I heard once, I'm not entirely sure, that there are books. I will check out. Probably there will be one episode 2 of this topic, because I can realize I've been talking for almost 20 minutes. So anyways, so talking about books, this is where usually everything starts. Okay, 99.9% of the movies you've seen and loved, it started off in a book or short story, you know, or any written material. Okay, it's really nice reading books that involve time traveling, and there are hundreds of them literally out there, but I would just like to go quickly about a few of them that really I haven't read as many books, time traveling stories, books, as I would like, but I've read some of them directly or indirectly. That directly or indirectly come across this topic. The first, and the one that I haven't finished. I started reading it, but I stopped for some reason. But I really plan on, going forward. That is the Spanish book by J.J. Benitez, I guess his name. I forgot writing down here. But anyways, it's called Trojan Horse, Caballo de Troya. It's nice. He times travel to the past, to the Jesus time, interacts with Jesus and everything, the apostles, and don't think that this is a religious, although the author is a convicted Christian. But it is, as far as the reviews go, it is a book for everyone. It's really well written. If you're learning or you want to practice and sharpen your Spanish, which is my case, definitely it's a good option. All right. The downsides, if we can put it this way, is that the author's been writing it for the author took more than 20 years to complete. There are 5 or 6, no, there are 9 books. Oh my God. well, there are more than 6 books for sure. Okay, and he took like 20 years to complete them all, to write them all. I mean, 5 books are the same story, the same character, the same plot. And lots of people say that the quality keeps going down as the years, gone by, basically. So, but it's still a good option. I will definitely read it, and maybe in the future someday, mind you that word future, I will come back to talk more about it. Okay. There's a lot of Arthur C. Clarke books, Henry Kuttner, but one in particular that I would like to talk at least quickly about it is a book called A Gun for Dinosaur. Okay, it's a short story, released in 1956. Okay, pay attention to the date, 1956. Guys were writing things about it. We think it's a modern thing, the science fiction. No, it's almost 100. I mean, it is literally 100 years old, or close to it, close enough. I think it's even older, to be honest. But anyways, 1956, a guy called L. Sprague de Camp. I didn't know the author before I read this book, so he's not, at least to my understanding, a very, very popular science fiction author. But he wrote this book, which is very cool, and it's the first time I read anything with dinosaurs, and I just came to realize it's way cooler, reading dinosaur stories than actually watching them on TV, on a screen. Okay, which is amazing, by the way. But when it's you get to read something, you just get deep in, you immerse yourself way deeper in the story, and it's very cool. It's a very cool book. I'm not gonna say much because it's a short story. The more I say, the more I spoil. And again, time. All right, guys. Just to finish it off, then, it's a short time here, just to quickly talk a little bit about things and get you to practice English. I really hope these podcasts have been, are being used. Let me put it in a better way. Are being used and useful for you to improve your listening skills. All right. So, butterfly effect. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about it. There's the movie with Ashton Kutcher. I hope I got his last name right. Ashton Kutcher. Yeah, Kutcher. It's a great show, great movie. From the 90s. It's I watched it just recently, so I lost the whole effective memory thing, unfortunately. I wish I had seen that before. So I saw it recently. I liked it, but I didn't so to say. I didn't get really, really excited about it, because it's a taking the present moment, the present days, in comparison, which is not something fair to do. All right. But inevitably, that's what we do when we watch an old movie that we didn't seen before. Most of the times, it's kind of a, how can I put it, inferior to the average. The plot. Okay, the actors are amazing. The movie is good, very good, but you don't get many surprises. All right. But it just brings the idea of like time traveling to the past can cause what they people call the butterfly effect. That is, if someone would go back 100,000 years ago, would bump into the monkeys and for some reason get them to see you, to see your ships, to see your technology, and start. It's just me coming up with the hypothesis, all right? They would see you like with your ships, with your guns, and would think like, hey, this is a divine creature. I should worship this creature. What would have happened to history in general? How many extra religions would we have in the world? How many extra cultures would we have in the world if that had happened? Okay, so this is what the butterfly effect talks about. Not to mention, like, The butterfly effect is way more radical to that matter. It says that if you time travel billions of years in the past and you would simply step over a butterfly, that could generate a small change that would generate two small changes, and then two small changes become 4, and then 8, and then 16, and so on and so forth, until after billions of years, the whole animal scenario is different in terms of evolution. You know, maybe humans would have like cat's ears, or you know, or our hairs could be purple. You know, I don't really know how to explain that in details because I'm not a scientist or anything. But if you're curious about it, just Google it and research. It's an interesting food for thought, as they say. That is something to think about. All right, guys, thank you so very much. This is all. I'm afraid I got too long. Again, it's inevitable. It's a pleasure being here talking to you, just as usual. And just as usual, I really hope we can meet again. I really wait for you in our next episode. So that's it. My name's Gary, and I see you in the next one. Bye-bye.